Simon, are Newcastle arriving now? Arriving at the top table and going to show us what, if anything, they can do?
Well, we're 12 games into a season, 11 games into a season, so I think we've got to take that into context. In a strange season in some ways, because I don't think anyone would have expected Liverpool to have started the season the way that they've done. So, with all things being factored in, I think you have to admire a lot of what Newcastle have done. In the last, we do the statistic of saying this time last year they'd not won any games and were 9 games in and all kinds of trouble was brewing. You've had a change of ownership, you've had a change of manager, you've had a change in spending culture, you spent £200 million on players, you've had a new sporting director brought in, you've had all the tools and components put into place to give you an opportunity to be far better than you once were. But all that being said, the outcomes and the achievement that they're putting on the pitch is well worth commending. And, we've got this bet between ourselves about whether Newcastle will finish inside the top 6. I still think there's many twists and turns with 26 games to go and a very unique perspective when you've got a World Cup campaign coming in the middle of it, which could prove to be a disruptor for Newcastle because if they continue this vein of form, going into a break won't be helpful for them. But they have a lot of momentum behind them, and I think there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of things that I got wrong. I got wrong about the fact that I didn't think the ownership would take over. I got wrong about the fact that I didn't think Eddie Howe could build a side that could defend. I got wrong about the fact that I thought Eddie Howe wouldn't be the ultimate outcome. I still challenge whether Eddie Howe will take them to the promised land. But right now, where they are, you have to give a tremendous amount of appreciation to it. Most of the things they've done, from the people they've put in the dugout to the players that they've recruited to the backroom staff that they've brought in, has been right. And, but we have a real tendency to micromanage everything. This is a swallow. It's not a summer. We will see. 38 games in, if we're sat here and they've finished 4th or 5th in the league, it'll be an outstanding achievement because Man City, when they got going and their engines fired up in 2008 or whenever it was, they finished 9th. They didn't finish 6th in the league. I think it'll be an outstanding achievement.
We're almost a third of the way into the season, Simon. That's the thing. And they're showing signs that they might just do something. I've said top 6 for our charity bet and I'm going to stick to it because it's looking... Well, you
see how things can turn. This time last year, they were a quarter of the way through the season and it was doom, more doom, and another lashing of doom. And things change. So we know how things can change, but they've got momentum. It's, of course, a component part that players are kept fit. Kieran Trippier has been an addition. There are some of all their parts. They're doing well, and I'm pleased for those Newcastle fans that have balanced perspective that they are. Yeah.
In comes Dan Burn, in comes Sven Botman. As Simon says, what they've invested well in. It would seem Almiron, little jacket, a little tilt at him from the Manchester City title-winning bust. Yeah. But Almiron's doing fine, is he not?
Yeah,
I think it's looking good.
It's looking very good. I know how difficult that job is. I know how difficult it is to get everyone on side up there. They're a frustrated lot.
Why is it difficult?
I think it's just born out of years and years of they see as underachievement. But I think the manager's done a fantastic job. I think when I saw them play against Liverpool, I saw a team that went to Anfield, which is, a hostile, difficult place to play. A lot of people get intimidated by going to Anfield. They turned up at Anfield that night and wanted to take Liverpool on at their game, and I thought they were fabulous. If it hadn't been for their wasting time antics, possibly would have got the point from it. But they were fabulous. And what I saw yesterday is a team that appeared to have no fear, a team that have gone to, I was going to say White Hart Lane, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and said, come on then, let's see what you got. Yeah. And they were fabulous. On the front foot, aggressive, and watching the game, of different perspectives, but watching the game, they looked like a really aggressive, fitter team than what Spurs were. Now, Spurs looked like a tired team to me, but I don't mean to take anything away from Newcastle, but Newcastle right now are absolutely on fire. They really are. And
maybe Simon's right. Maybe the World Cup comes along.
Well, anything. We can only talk about the now. We can't talk about what may and possibly could happen. But right now, Newcastle are on fire. Newcastle are not a team you really want to play. Full of aggression. And you mentioned little Almiron, who couldn't buy a goal, but now is that 2-3 games on the trot he's got a goal. It looks all of a sudden like he's at home in the Premier League, and he has found life difficult. You would always like him because he's a workaholic, he's a buzzer, he's a fizzer.
Yeah.
But right now, if you're a Newcastle supporter, you should be enjoying this. They have been fabulous.
Looking at the top 6, Graeme, the perceived top 6, who's most at risk of being replaced by Newcastle?
Well, again, we're on here, and Sammy made the point that, you will get things. You're on this show every day. You ain't going to make every single call that turns out to be correct, and you keep firing bullets at them and try to got you on the
Oh,
back
no, but I
foot,
think it's
which-
also important. It's a
Am I
strength to say when
showing
you're
you?
wrong.
Am I showing him sympathy?
Indeed.
Dear me.
Latitude. Give him a bit of latitude.
Anyway, I am. The normal order is changing. I mean, you have to say that.
Listen, I'm not going to let you off with it, though.
No,
Do you look
I-
at Newcastle's success at the moment with a bit through gritted teeth?
Not at all.
No.
I've gone on records. That was the most difficult job I had.
Of all of them?
Of all the jobs I had, and I had, like Benfica, if you're at a big Latin club, trust me, and I had that for 2 years.
Benfica, Galatasaray.
That's not an easy job. I had
Right.
Liverpool at a difficult time.
Liverpool.
I had Rangers at a difficult time.
So Newcastle was the toughest?
I just found it very hard to get everyone rowing in the same direction. I don't think I was ever really wanted there. I was following Bobby Robson, and they had although had a miserable year, they sacked Bobby. They had played in the Champions League, and you walk in the door, and Frey Shepherd's wife, the first words she said to me, I remember it, and I've met her since and reminded her. Her first words to me, so you are the lion tamer, are you? Meaning they had a rowdy bunch there. Oh, really?
That was in the boardroom, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really, you're the lion tamer, which
Yeah.
is, and I've met her since, and she's a lovely lady.
Well,
and
Eddie's
chuckle
tamed
at
him,
that.
hasn't he? How's done
yeah,
well.
but he doesn't have a Dyer or a Bellamy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Newcastle flying right now, but can they keep it going? I mean, as I said earlier, exactly a year ago today, Newcastle 19th in the Premier League, no wins from their opening 9. Now they're 4th, 1 loss all season.
I didn't answer your question. Excuse me for cutting across you.
Go on.
But you have to say that Liverpool are in danger.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have to say that maybe Chelsea could be in danger. So there is an opening for Newcastle.
Yeah.
Definitely, top 6. The team I'm watching right now, and you can't guarantee it, but if that's in Newcastle,
Yeah.
in terms of performances, in terms of attitude,
Yeah.
and they don't suffer a load of injuries, they could easily end up in the top 4.
You
The
worried about your
status quo is going to be
grandmother, George?
disrupted.
Charity bet.
That's fine if it goes to a good cause. The status quo is being disrupted, not because of what Newcastle are doing, it's because to some extent what they're not doing. Liverpool, no one would have expected.
You have to, you take,
I'm
you have to give them credit as well.
But if Liverpool were functioning and firing, and
Yes.
then they would probably be in a situation where Newcastle weren't in the space that Liverpool might have occupied. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Newcastle because I think they're moving into a territory where once upon a time, at the beginning of the season, it was, what is Alan Saint-Maximin going to do? What's he going to do? What's he going to do? Because when he's on blob, Newcastle, no, it starts to move away. Now you're starting to get a unit and it comes all around the pitch.
Yeah.
You don't know what Trippier is going to do. You don't know what the boy Alman's going to do. Callum Wilson's back now fit. You've got to buy Isak. You've got a whole raft of options. Guimaraes in the middle of the park. You've got a team which causes people to be concerned. I still think players like Dan Burn have arrived at Newcastle with lots of passion, lots of furore, but to me, they'll get found out when teams ask more questions
are
of them.
Newcastle arriving? And are they proving their top 6 home record credentials? Come on, Newcastle fans, let's hear from you. 03717 223344 81089.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.